Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we cut through the noise and get straight to those crucial insights from the sources you've shared.
Yep, get right to the core.
Exactly. And today, well, we're tackling something every business leader, really anyone running a business,
Yep.
bumps up against eventually.
Growth, expansion.
Right, expansion. How do you grow without breaking things? It really feels like a tightrope walk sometimes, doesn't it?
It absolutely is a universal challenge, truly, from, a tiny startup, maybe a local coffee place, right up to a massive global company.
Yeah.
Understanding how to scale, it's just pivotal for any entrepreneur. So our mission here for this deep dive is really to pull out the key stuff from those YouTube transcripts you sent over,
Okay.
focusing on the good bits, the advantages, but also the surprising downsides and the different ways businesses actually go about expanding.
Okay, let's unpack this.
We want to get to the core of what makes growth work and, well, what makes it stumble.
So when we're talking business expansion, we basically mean a company gets to a point, right, where it's not just about keeping the lights on anymore.
Right.
They're deliberately trying to get bigger somehow, maybe more revenue, bigger team, grabbing more market share. It's a huge step for any business. But why? Why is it so, well, fundamental?
That's it, exactly. And the why, it's definitely more than just getting bigger. First off, yeah, increased revenue. That's usually the most obvious driver, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
More customers naturally mean more sales. That boosts the top line, gives the business more cash to reinvest, fuel more growth.
Like that Yuki retailer, Primark,
Oh, that-
expanding across Europe.
Precisely. That's a direct path to way more customers, funding future efforts. It's a classic example.
And it's not just about selling more stuff, is it? It's also doing it smarter, more efficiently.
Exactly right. Which brings us straight to economies of scale. As a business grows, makes more things, the average cost for each item, the unit cost, often goes down.
How does it work?
Well, because they can buy materials in huge quantities, bulk buying. Think about car makers like Toyota buying steel or components. Or they just optimize their production lines. Their processes become slicker. And look, this isn't just about saving a bit of cash. It's a really powerful competitive advantage.
Right.
It lets the bigger players maybe offer lower prices or just enjoy fatter profit margins compared to the little guys.
So that efficiency, that scale, it feeds into becoming a market leader, dominating the space.
It really does. Strategic expansion done right can absolutely lead to market leadership. It's not just being big, it's using that size to innovate faster, maybe disrupt older companies, build barriers that are really hard for smaller firms to jump over.
Like Amazon and their logistics network.
Perfect example. Amazon's relentless investment there expanded their reach massively, and it really strengthened their competitive position, their moat, as they say.
Got it.
Then you've got diversification, offering more products, or jumping into totally new markets that helps spread the risk, reduces it.
Like Virgin. Starting with music, then airlines, trains.
Exactly. The Virgin Group is a classic case. Music stores originally, then airlines, trains, media. They built resilience because they weren't just relying on one thing.
Smart.
And finally, growth just makes a business look, well, more attractive. Bigger companies, growing companies, they appeal more to investors, to lenders.
Ah, the funding aspect.
Absolutely. That's why those fast-growing tech firms like, say, Uber or Airbnb were able to pull in such huge amounts of funding. Expansion was critical for them to keep scaling up.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we dive into how businesses actually pull this growth off, it feels like we need to quickly touch on how we even measure how big a business is. Because big can mean different things, right?
You're absolutely right. It can be quite nuanced. There are several main ways to measure a business's size, and honestly, each tells a slightly different part of the story.
Okay.
One common way is just counting the total number of employees. That's pretty useful for organizations maybe not selling a physical product directly, like a consulting firm or something, right? Then there's total turnover or sales revenue. That's the total money coming in from sales.
But that's not profit.
Crucially, no. It's vital to remember that. Turnover doesn't account for any costs, materials, wages, rent, none of it. But it gives you a raw feel for the scale of operations. A business turning over 50,000 pounds is just fundamentally different from one doing millions.
Okay, so turnover gives scale, but not health necessarily. What else?
Exactly. Another key measure is the business's total value. You calculate that by taking everything it owns, its assets, and subtracting everything it owes, its liabilities.
So assets minus liabilities. Net worth, basically.
Precisely. It gives you a snapshot of its net worth. And then for companies, incorporated businesses, we often talk about market capitalization.
The stock market value.
Essentially, yes, it's the total value of all the shares held by all the shareholders. So, simple example. If you have 5 shareholders and each holds shares worth, say, £20,000, the market cap is £100,000. These different metrics taken together, they give us a much more rounded, sort of multifaceted picture of how big a business actually is.
Got it. So we know what expansion is, why it's important, how to measure size. Now, big question, how do businesses actually do it? And it seems like there are 2 really distinct paths.
That's right. Broadly speaking, you've got internal growth, often called organic growth, and external growth, which we call inorganic.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, and the difference is pretty clear-cut, actually. Organic growth, that's when a business expands basically through its own efforts, its own operations.
Doing more of what they already do or new things themselves.
Exactly. Increasing output, opening more shops or branches, maybe boosting profit and sales just by hiring more people. It's all internally driven.
Okay.
Inorganic growth, on the other hand, that's achieved by joining forces with another business. Usually that means mergers or takeovers.
Right. Teaming up or buying someone else out. Let's dig into the organic route first. Growing from within, using your own resources.
Okay, sounds good. And a great way to think about this might be using the example of Megan Johnson. She created that POP hold thing.
Oh yeah, the phone grip accessory.
That's the one. Pops out, helps you hold your phone. She actually made it for herself first, but it took off, sold hundreds of thousands online. She even quit her job to focus on growing the business.
Wow. Okay, so what would someone like Megan, or any business really, do to grow organically?
Well, one fundamental way is just getting more customers for the existing product. Several ways. Maybe strategically lower the price a bit, make it more attractive, though you've got to watch your costs, obviously, to keep making a profit.
Sure.
Or make the POP a hold available in totally new places. Imagine seeing it in big supermarkets or phone shops on the high street. That would massively expand her reach.
Yeah, visibility.
And of course, improving marketing, better campaigns, more awareness. That's classic organic growth.
So that's all about pushing the current product further. What else?
Right. Another big method is developing totally new products or just increasing the range, the product portfolio.
So Megan could invent another cool phone accessory.
Exactly. If she came up with something else innovative, she'd be diversifying her product line. What's fascinating here is, think about Apple.
Right.
Their evolution from the Apple I to the Mac, the iPod, the iPhone, that's textbook organic growth through constant innovation. It requires strong research and development, R&D, to really understand and meet what customers want next.
Keeping ahead of the curve.
Precisely. Then there's entering new markets. This often means selling overseas, internationally.
Like McDonald's going into China.
Classic example, yes. Huge potential, obviously. But, and it's a big but, going overseas is risky. You're dealing with unknown markets. Maybe no one's heard of your brand.
Language barriers, different laws.
All of that. It can be difficult, expensive. Cultural differences are massive. That's why, for overseas markets, you almost always have to amend your marketing mix. Adapting the product itself, the price, how you promote it, tailoring it all to local tastes and cultures. McDonald's is brilliant at this.
Like the different menu items.
Yeah, spicy shrimp burgers in Japan, congee that rice porridge in China, making sure chicken is halal in the UAE. They even use local celebrities in their ads. It's crucial customization.
So it's not just transplanting, it's adapting. It makes sense.
Absolutely. And technology, of course, is a massive driver for organic growth these days.
E-commerce.
Definitely. Selling online lets businesses reach customers way beyond any physical stores. Megan's already online, but she could boost that. Maybe better SEO, search engine optimization, so her website shows up higher in Google.
Okay.
Or using targeted social media ads, based on user data. For food businesses, those home delivery apps, Uber Eats, Deliveroo, etc., they're huge now for reaching people at home.
Right.
Next up, outsourcing.
Handing off parts of the business.
Yeah, like production. Megan's making POP holds in her garage now, right? She could hire another company to manufacture them for her. That could let her make vastly more.
But there are downsides.
Oh, definitely. The big risk is losing direct control over quality. What if the outsourced factory cuts corners? or delivers late. That leads to unhappy customers, damages your reputation. It's a trade-off. Scale versus control.
A tricky balance.
It is. And finally, for organic growth, there's franchising.
Like McDonald's again, or Costa Coffee.
Exactly those. You sell the rights to your business model to other entrepreneurs' franchisees. They usually pay an upfront fee plus a cut of the revenue.
So you can expand much faster.
Much faster, yeah. It allows for rapid national, even international expansion because you're using other people's money and local knowledge to open new outlets. It's like cloning your business.
Wow, okay, that's a really thorough look at growing from the inside out. It sounds maybe less dramatic than buying another company, maybe less risky, but slower.
That's generally the perception, yes. The advantages of organic growth are usually seen as lower risk. You're expanding a brand that's already working, using your own money and know-how.
You keep your company culture too.
Exactly. You maintain the current culture, the ethics, no new bosses or stakeholders interfering, and you control the pace. Speed up, slow down, you decide. That flexibility is key.
Okay, but the downsides, you said slower.
Often, yes, it's slower. Developing brand new products, breaking into new markets organically.
Yeah.
It just takes time. Significant time R&D effort. Think about Facebook buying Instagram.
Right, instant photo sharing platform.
Instant, much, much quicker than if Facebook had tried to build something similar from scratch internally. So organically, you might miss out on really ambitious growth chances because you can't pool resources or grab market share as fast as you could with a merger or buying someone. And even with internal growth, don't forget, there can still be instability. Adapting to new ways of working, especially if you go into new countries with different cultures, it can be unsettling for a while.
That paints a really clear picture of the internal path. But what if you need speed? Or you need skills or tech you just don't have? That, I guess, is where external growth comes in. The bigger, maybe faster play.
It absolutely can be. Much faster, often. And the two main ways this happens are, as we mentioned, mergers and takeovers, which are also called acquisitions.
Okay, merger first. That's like two companies becoming one.
Exactly. Two or more businesses join forces, combine everything, and form one completely new company. The original companies, they cease to exist separately, they pool their assets, their people, everything, and move forward as a single entity, often with a new name, maybe hyphenated.
Any big examples?
Oh, yeah. Kraft and Heinz merging in 2015 to form Kraft Heinz instantly became, I think, the fifth biggest food and beverage company globally.
Wow. Okay, so that's a merger. How's a takeover and acquisition different?
It's quite different. In a takeover, one business buys another business outright. It purchases it, owns it. All the assets of the company that's bought the land, buildings, tech, patents, brands, everything come under the control of the company doing the buying.
But a new company isn't formed.
Correct. One business basically absorbs the other. Think of Facebook now, Meta buying Instagram back in 2012. Paid $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Yep. Instagram still exists as a product, a brand, but it's wholly owned by Meta. Google buying YouTube for, what was it, $1.65 billion?
Yeah.
Same idea.
And sometimes the target company says no.
Oh, yeah. Famously, Facebook tried to buy Snapchat way back, but they rejected the offer, so it's not always a done deal.
So with a merger, it's a real joining. A takeover is more like absorption, and presumably there are different strategic flavors to these deals beyond just getting bigger.
That's exactly right. We usually talk about three main types of integration, whether it's a merger or a takeover. Each has a very different strategic goal.
Okay.
First, you've got horizontal integration. This is when businesses in the same industry and at the same stage of the supply chain join up.
Like competitors merging.
Precisely. Kraft and Heinz were competitors before they merged. That failed merger attempt between Sainsbury's and Asda here in the UK, that was horizontal too.
Right.
The main goal here is usually to boost competitiveness, consolidate the market, gain market share, and often, frankly, eliminate a direct rival.
Okay, makes sense. What's next?
Then we have vertical integration. This is when businesses at different stages of the supply chain combine.
How does that work?
Two ways. There's backward vertical integration. That's when a business takes control of another company that's earlier in the supply chain, closer to the raw materials.
Example.
Think of a tire company like Michelin buying a rubber plantation, or a big supermarket chain buying one of its wholesalers.
What's the benefit?
Better control over your supplies, guaranteed access to raw materials, and potentially lower unit costs because you cut out a middleman.
Okay, so that's backward. What's forward?
Forward vertical integration is the opposite. A business takes control of another company that's later in the supply chain. closer to the final customer.
Like?
Amazon buying Whole Foods supermarkets to sell groceries directly to people. Or a car manufacturer buying up a chain of car dealerships.
Controlling the route to market.
Exactly. More control over distribution, the customer experience, the final sale.
Okay, horizontal, vertical. What's the third one? Sounds like a complete wild card.
That would be conglomerate integration. This is when a business merges with or takes over a company in a totally, completely unrelated industry.
Like the Virgin example again. Music, airlines, trains.
Perfect example. Totally different sectors.
Yeah.
Or imagine, say, a t-shirt company deciding to start stocking Apple Watches. Maybe a stretch, but it illustrates the point: unrelated diversification.
Why do that?
The main driver is usually spreading risk. If one market tanks, maybe the others will be okay, and potentially finding completely new areas for growth that have nothing to do with your original business.
Fascinating. So these external methods, these inorganic routes, they seem incredibly powerful for like rapid change. What are the big upsides?
Speed is probably the number one advantage. Growth can happen much faster than trying to build everything yourself organically. You're essentially buying an existing business, its customers, its revenue stream, its operations, all ready to go.
Instant revenue boost too, I guess.
Absolutely, an immediate increase in total revenue because you're adding the acquired company's sales to your own right from day one. Plus, you usually get those economies of scale benefits pretty quickly too because the combined entity is bigger, lower unit costs again.
And competition.
Reduced competition, often significantly. You've taken one competitor off the board and you gain market share very, very quickly. Remember that Sainsbury's-Asda potential merger?
Yeah, it would have been huge.
If it had gone through, their combined market share would have leaped to about 34%, making them the clear #1 supermarket chain in the UK. You just can't achieve that kind of jump organically in a short time.
But, and there's always a but, isn't there? With that kind of speed and power, I imagine the risks are pretty significant too. What are the major downsides of going inorganic?
Oh, the disadvantages are absolutely significant, and they can be really complex to manage. First off, the sheer cost.
Right, buying a whole company isn't cheap.
Not at all. It comes with a massive upfront price tag. We mentioned Facebook paying $1 billion for Instagram, Google $1.65 billion for YouTube. Huge sums, and there's absolutely no guarantee that the deal will work out well afterwards.
Okay, cost. What else?
Cultural clashes. This is a huge one, often underestimated. You're not just merging spreadsheets and buildings, you're trying to merge different groups of people, different ways of working, different company personalities.
Like trying to mix oil and water sometimes?
It can be exactly like that, forcing together distinct corporate cultures, different management styles, different values. If it's not handled incredibly carefully, it can lead to massive internal friction, inefficiency, good people leaving.
Talent drain.
Yes, talent drain, low morale. It can really derail the whole point of the merger or acquisition.
Right.
Success here is much more about managing the people and the change than just the financial mechanics.
That makes a lot of sense. So how do the successful ones manage that? Is there a secret sauce?
Rarely a single secret sauce, I'd say. It usually comes down to really meticulous planning before the deal, very clear and constant communication during the integration, and strong unifying leadership setting a clear vision for the combined entity. But even then, it's incredibly difficult.
Okay. Cost, culture, any other big risks?
Yes, regulatory issues are a big one. Governments, competition authorities, they can step in and block deals.
Like the Sainsbury's-Asda one.
Exactly. The Competition and Markets Authority, the CMA, blocked that Sainsbury's-Asda merger in 2019. They argued it would significantly reduce competition in the grocery market, likely leading to higher prices and less choice for shoppers. So deals can be stopped if they're seen as bad for competition or not in the public interest.
Right, the anti-monopoly angle.
Pretty much. And finally, there's just the risk of, well, overextension, trying to swallow something too big too quickly. Rapid external growth can bring huge management headaches, unforeseen complexities, inefficiencies. It can become really tough for leadership to actually maintain control and keep the strategy on track across this much bigger, more complex organization.
So, wow. Business expansion, whether you go organic or inorganic, it really is this incredible balancing act. Exciting, absolutely, but you can see how daunting it must be, too. It really hammers home why entrepreneurs need to think through their growth plans so carefully.
Absolutely. And there's a concept that speaks directly to that danger: diseconomies of scale.
The opposite of economies of scale.
Exactly, the flip side. It's what can happen when a business expands too fast or gets too big or tries to do too much too soon. Instead of average cost per unit going down, they can actually start to increase as sales go up.
Why would that happen?
Several reasons. Maybe the sheer complexity leads to higher operational costs. Communication starts breaking down in a huge organization. Bureaucracy creeps in, slowing things down. Managers lose that tight control they had when things were smaller. Basically, the bigger you get sometimes, the harder and more expensive it becomes to coordinate everything effectively and stay nimble.
That's a really powerful warning. And we can see real-world examples, right? Like that cautionary tale of American Apparel.
Oh yeah, stark example. They went on this massive expansion drive, opened nearly 300 stores across America in just 6 years or so after launching. Super aggressive growth.
And what happened?
Well, they ended up drowning in debt, filed for bankruptcy. Eventually, they had to shut down all their physical stores. Now they're just an online-only brand. It's a classic illustration of the dangers of growing too soon or too quickly. It truly is. This raises an important question. What is the right pace? The goal for any entrepreneur, like Megan with her POP hold, has to be finding that sort of Goldilocks level of growth, you know? Not too fast, not too slow, but just right for their specific situation, their market, their resources. Growth just for the sake of getting bigger can be really perilous.
So what does this all mean? What a deep dive this has been. We've really journeyed through the landscape of business expansion. We've seen the incredible potential, boosting revenue, grabbing market share, getting those crucial economies of scale. But we've also really unpacked the significant risks and complexities. Whether a business chooses that steadier internal organic path or goes for the big, fast surge of inorganic growth via mergers or takeovers, this whole conversation has really shone a light on the different methods, the pros and cons of each, and just how vital that careful strategic planning is to avoid, falling off that tightrope.
Indeed. And it leaves you, the listener, with something to ponder, doesn't it? Given all these strategies we've talked about, the examples of huge successes and frankly big failures, how would you decide if you were advising a business or maybe starting your own? How would you figure out the best pace, the best method, organic or inorganic, for growth? What factors would you weigh most heavily? Why choose one path over the other?
A lot to think about.
Definitely. We really encourage you to keep exploring these nuances of business strategy. It's a constantly evolving field.